Yes, I love this land. It takes my breath away.
Welcome to Texas 10. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Steve. And here at Texas 10, we've traveled the state. I think we've done how many counties now?
229.
Out of Texas's 254 counties. And we want to bring you in short segments, 10 minutes or less, that's why we're Texas 10, stories and information about the great places we've seen in our wonderful state. So this week, we're off to where, Melissa?
Albany. But not Albany, New York. Albany, Texas.
All right. Well, Albany, Texas sits just about an hour north of I-20, and you would get off around Eastland, and you head up the road to find Albany, Texas. And it is one of our favorite places that we've been in our many, many travels. What did you like about Albany?
You know, one of the things I love about Albany is it doesn't have a typical square. It's a beautiful courthouse, but it has a very active main street. And I loved shopping. I loved eating there. In fact, I loved the store that it had like cookware, it had women's wear, it had men's wear, active wear. And it was called?
Blanton Caldwell.
Yes.
And so I'm going to echo what she said about the shopping. And it's really a street more than a square. But we've been to lots of county squares. And the ones that are close to a major city, say Georgetown right outside of Austin, or McKinney right outside of Dallas, they have a great advantage. They're close to millions of people. Well, out of all the squares we've been to in rural Texas, I would put Albany right at the top. And one of the reasons is Blanton Caldwell. It's great for both of us shopping because you can look for the kitchen and for the chic clothing, and they do have chic clothing. Well, I'm looking at fishing reels and wrenches and all sorts of stuff, and it's all in one store. It's awesome.
Say you can look for the kitchen too. Good. But I also love in small towns, we always look for the old drugstores, and we look to see if they still have their soda fountain counter. And there is a wonderful one. Sanderson Drugs is still there. And it's an active pharmacy, and it has one of the very best counters.
It's, again, one of the best counters in Texas. You get a lot of best with Albany's. It's like one of the best courthouses, one of the best stores on the square, one of the best places to get a root beer float. And I love going back to root beer floats because that's what my grandfather always got me when I visited him. And they bring that back. And that's the sort of feel you get all throughout Albany. They also have a great high school football stadium. All the Texas things they're great at.
You know, one of the things that surprises me about Albany is it has an amazing little art gallery.
It does. It's called the Old Jail Art Center. And now, one thing we should say about Albany is there's oil around there. And oil produces money. And I think one of the things I love about it, though, is you can tell the people that made the money reinvested it in the town. And the Old Jail Art Center is example A1 of that because, one, it's a great grounds facility. You feel like you're in a big time museum. So that's
beautiful.
Great.
And it has an eclectic collection. I mean, it has Picassos, it has Moors. What is your artist that you love?
So the one that, and I love American folk art, and probably the most recognizable American folk art picture is American Gothic by Grant Wood. That's the old man, the stern old man, the stern old woman with the pitchfork. Well, Grant Wood, he unfortunately died of pancreatic cancer when he was in his early 50s. And so while he was industrious while he was living, his catalog isn't enormous. And they had two Grant Woods in Albany, Texas, which, I mean, the odds on that are sort of enormous, but it does go to show you just the value of their collection. I mean, this is real top-notch art. But the other thing I loved about the Art Center was their oral history program. You're a big sucker for oral history.
I love to hear the stories of people. You've probably heard me say in other episodes that I Love the People. And it tells the story of the people in this area up close and personal, and you understand how Albany became a town. And it was really, really interesting and great to watch.
It is, and if you want to know a little bit more about that, I'd suggest you go to Texas10.com, look up the Albany or Shackelford County. Albany is the county seat of Shackelford County page, and you'll get a lot more information about some of the amazing people and events that led to what is Albany today. One of which is, now, Albany has got all the great things we talked about, but it also has tremendous history.
Yes. But before you get to that, Steve, we talked about the shopping, and there's always great shopping for women. But in this little town, Steve Howen found a little museum. I thought he was going just to lose it. It was like a little boy in a candy store. They have a great automotive collection.
Classic car museum with, to top it off, they also have got the bikes from my era and before, the lunch boxes, just sort of real Americana stuff.
It was great. Now let's talk about the history.
Well, so one of the reasons you go to Albany is for what they call the Fandangle.
Now, I went to the Fandangle when I was in high school, a long time ago, and I remember it was fun with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my mom and dad, and we went back. It's always the last 2 weekends in June, and it is phenomenal. It's the oldest outdoor musical in Texas.
And it's put on entirely by the community, which is the thing that really blows you away. I mean, we went to Texas in Palo Duro Canyon, which is also great, but this is just the people. And the thing that struck me is that you go to a parade, and they have a great parade in the afternoon for the Fandangle.
They have a barbecue out on the square, so you get to have a barbecue. There's a parade. There's the Calliope concert before the show.
And then you go to the show, and the opening of the show is they're herding real cattle for us. They come roaring in with the guys on horseback, and I'm thinking, that's really cool. You see it in the movies, but this is their daily living,
right.
And I'm impressed by that. But then I'm blown away because they hop off their horses and they turn into Roy Rogers. They start singing with like really good singing, and it's a great show.
It is a great show. It's the kids in the community. It is everyone. They all come together, and it's something that you can take your family to. If you're our age and you're just out for a weekend, you'll enjoy it. It is really great entertainment.
And then on top of that, the story itself talks about the history of the area, and where they were situated was sort of the epicenter of the buffalo killing that went on in the around 1870 to 1876. And obviously the buffalo were central to the Comanche way of life.
Right.
And because people in London decided they wanted buffalo hats and felts and that sort of stuff, there was a mass extinction event at the hands of buffalo hunters. And obviously the Comanche didn't like that. Fort Griffin was the fort that was established to protect the buffalo hunters while this was going on. And around Fort Griffin grew up the camp followers, the saloons, the brothels, the gambling houses, and it was truly the wild, wild west. And that's what the show talks about, but Fort Griffin is still there.
Right. And it's a wonderful state park that you should go to. They have amazing ruins of the buildings, and just to read the stories of the people that lived there.
Yeah, and so we spent some time on Sunday afternoon at the state park. We watched a great movie there that gave the Native American perspective and the Anglo perspective. But more than anything else, it's really peaceful now, which is so at odds with that. Mm-hmm. And so, everybody has their own take on that era, but what I took away from it is that the troubles of today, they're going to wash away. And, going to Albany, that's what I felt driving back.
Well, I encourage you to take some time to go to Albany, Texas, one of my favorites. And I love, love, love the Fandangle. Right. I just like to say it.
Right. And so we encourage you to keep watching Texas 10, like us on social media, and be here next time when we talk about another great place or thing about Texas. Bye.
Was he talking about you? And I love this land. Oh, it takes my breath away. From the Palo Duro to the Gulf Coast plain. From the heart of the hill country to the piney wood shade, I love this land. It takes my breath away